Have you noticed that the Republicans and the Democrats can't agree on nothing except when it comes to Israel, and Netanyahu can come over here? You see the leader of the Republicans, the leader of the Democrats standing together with Netanyahu. Is that a strange picture? That you can't agree on the welfare of the American people, but you can agree on what is in the best interest of Israel? Talk back to me.
How rich and powerful is Lord Evelyn Rothschild? Historically, the Rothschild family wealth was hidden in underground vaults. The Rothschild secret financial records were never audited and never accounted for. Their family commissioned biographies give the illusion that their family fortune has dwindled, but researchers estimate their wealth at close to $500 trillion, more than half the wealth of the entire world. Besides their many castles, palace mansions, wineries, racehorses, and exotic resorts, the Rothschilds bought Reuters in the 1800s. Reuters then bought the Associated Press, which selects and delivers the same news stories to the entire world, day after day. They have controlling interest in 3 major television networks and easily avoid media attention since they own it. Until recently, they owned and operated England's Royal Mint and continue to be the gold agent for the Bank of England, which they also direct. They control the LBMA, London Bullion Market Association, where 30 to 42 million ounces of gold worth over $11 billion are traded daily. The Rothschilds earn millions weekly just on transaction fees alone. They also fix the world price of gold on a daily basis.
In modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words: Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great-uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question because it was primarily a movement from Eastern Europe, but they didn't clarify who was in charge of that movement. And in addition, it was after all in Great Britain. So they felt that the Rothschild family should be the one to whom it was addressed. And Walter was Lord Rothschild, and he was a Zionist. With favour the establishment of Palestine as a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavours to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country.
It is the Balfour Declaration. What do you feel when you see it here?
I genuinely feel it's one of the most extraordinary moments in the history.
must find his real name, Netanyahu. That one is a fake name for Israel. He's got his real European name because he's not a Jew. You heard me? Google it up. What is Netanyahu's real name? They were converted, these Turkish, and in the book, The 13th Tribe by Ford, you'll actually find some of this information readily available.
It was common practice for Zionist immigrants at the time to adopt a Hebrew name. Nathan Mileikovsky began signing some of the articles he wrote. Netanyahu, the Hebrew version of his name, and his son adopted this and his family name. So his real name is Nathan Mileikovsky. I didn't know this. Okay.
Part of learning and growing.
So his real name is Nathan.
Yeah.
Not Benjamin.
No,
his real name is Mileikovsky, not Netanyahu. Why would they change their name though?
To adapt to the Hebrew Jewish narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody posted a video of, I think it was in 17 or 1800s, of an old movie of people that lived in Jerusalem at the time. And most of them were black people.
You can Google again the Egyptian prime minister who says he's not going to accept Jerusalem as it is right now. Because when the blacks left, when the Israelis left here, they were black. Now they came back white. So he's not going to recognize that.
So what do you want me to Google?
You can Google the Egyptian president who refused to accept the white Jews. So they left here as black. Now they're coming back as white. So when did the Jews become white? Because the Fertile Crescent sits on the Platonic stone of Africa, literally. But of course, to fit with the United Nations narrative of reclaiming the 1940, 46, 47 treaties of giving Israelis back their land. Then you find these white people, these converted Ashkenazis who converted into Judaism, claiming to be Hebrews and Jews.
Why would they do that though?
It's a religious benefit. It's a religious benefit. Again, it plays into the white supremacy narrative that they are the chosen people. And because they are chosen people, it resuscitates and sanitizes all white people. It's critical that the Jews must be white, theologically. Because once the Jews are white and they're at the door of the Bible, then anyone who reads this text must read it through the interpretation and the culture of those that are claimed to be Jews. So once the Jews are white, do you have a problem with the white Jesus? Why would you have a problem? It's a rewriting, it's a stealing of black history. Blatant. One of the biggest lies ever told on the face of the earth is that Jews are white. One of the biggest lies ever told historically, academically, ethnographically. Go back and purge through your history books. Find me a white man who was taken as a slave in Israel, from Israel to Egypt, to work to build the pyramids. White people, slaves in Egypt. And Moses came to redeem white people.
In 1958, President Nasser of Egypt said of the Jews, they left here black and came back white. What did he really mean though? They say he meant the truth. Millions of modern Jews are either converts or light-skinned mixed race people who don't fit the description of the earliest inhabitants of Israel.
It is two ways. He said that he is saying that when they left Egypt, they left here as blacks. But now he's being told to recognize them in Israel, and they're all white. So how did the transformation happen? That a black nation ended up as a white nation. But this is theological bigotry and mischief, where academic institutions of theology have allowed to whitewash the Bible and whitewash the theology to fit into the colonial narrative.
The ancient Middle East was first settled by Hamitic people, including the Cushites. The legendary ruler, Cushite king Nimrod, the Ethiopian, is immortalized in geographic and place names like Nimrod Fortress Castle in Israel.
The Hyksos, there was actually a period of the whitening, you can even research on that also, the whitening of Egypt. Where the whitening of Egypt.
The white?
Whitening.
Whitening, oh,
okay. Whitening of Egypt,
yeah.
Where actually the Hyksos were defeated, and the light in complexion Arabs started taking all the black Hyksos as slaves and pushed them out of royalty, and now started having them white. Now when you walk around Egypt, it looks like it's a white country, when actually there was a process of the whitening of Egypt and the extermination of the black Hyksos, and hence the removal of the nose of all the statues to not show that the history that was here was of the flat-nosed people rather than the sharp-nosed people who are now claiming history as theirs.
The whitening of Egypt is a controversial idea that has been used to claim that ancient Egypt was a white civilization. However, mainstream Western scholars reject the idea. The idea that ancient Egypt was white or black is considered anachronistic by Western scholars. They argue that applying modern racial concepts to ancient Egypt is incorrect. Scholars also reject the idea that ancient Egypt was racially homogeneous. Instead, they believe that skin color varied between people from Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt, and Nubia. The controversy over the racial identity of Egypt has continued into the modern era.
And why again, let's put these two arguments back to back. Number one, you have a religious argument, which gives you the white people as Jews. Number two, you have an academic argument, which is now trying to exterminate the black history and make it white. So see what's happening here. Academically, by claiming the history of Egypt as white history, you have been able to remove black people away from innovation, from academics, from history, as the originators and the most ancient civilization on the face of the earth. You claim that history. Make Moses taking the Israelites out of Egypt, make them white. That whole movie, rubbish, scandalous narratives. So by taking away our history and by sitting at the door of religion, you are able to brainwash people that they're inferior to you. Because their civilization, without them, there's no civilization. Without them, there's no salvation. So the white people become the gatekeepers of your economy, your history, and your religious expression. It can't be more blatant than that. A person who steals your car is much better smooth than a person who steals your identity. At a moment of your unconsciousness, I come and I change your name. When you wake up, I give you a wrong name. And you can never trace again who you are. That's cruel. That's cruel that you will walk past your mother's house and you will not recognize her. Because I took advantage when you were not conscious. That I make you hate your own brother. That's cruel. Because I'm withholding information from you to tell you that this is your blood brother. Now, stealing identity cannot be more gruesome than that.
If you take away the Soviet Union and its chief proxy, the PLO, international terrorism would collapse.
If you take out Saddam, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Obviously, we like to see a regime change, at least I would, in Iran, just as I would like to see in Iraq. The question now is a practical question. What is the best place to proceed? It's not a question of whether Iraq's regime should be taken out, but when should it be taken out? Libya is, while no one is watching, under the cloak, is trying very rapidly to build an atomic bomb capability. I believe that the next step is to choose. It's not a question of whether you have to take action, but what kind of action and against whom.
I don't support the Palestinians either. They're all hyped up and psychotic. But Israel's going to get us nuked, always backing them up like this. Israel calls the Palestinians goyim or cattle or dogs or subhuman. They keep them on concentration camps. I got video of them taking Palestinian women's tomatoes they grow and breaking their water containers and stealing. That's why you have this crap. And our children are going to die. We're going to get nuked because of this. Iran's got the nukes now. Syria. We're going to have nuclear war because Israel likes to go around bombing everybody. I'm sorry. It's just the facts. And Israel absolutely is beside itself with joy right now. They are talking about how they're going to blow everything up, how they're going to attack everybody, and guess who's going to get bombed because of it? I have been supportive of Israel for many years. When I found out what they do, shooting little Palestinian children in the genitalia and laughing, it's on video. Little 10-year-olds walk around throwing rocks at tanks. A guy sits off a half mile away and blows their testicles off. They call them goyim. They call them dogs. They call the Arabs cattle. And then the corrupt Arab governments that are in league with this government, it's really a sick Hegelian dialectic, order out of chaos, bringing the world crises, bringing them terrorism, so we'll accept a highly dictatorial police state regime. It's happening.
This is a time for a war for a common future.
Neither Iran or the United States want to fight each other. It's the Israelis who have been trying to pull the Iranians and the Americans into a fight.
Netanyahu's greatest dream in life is a war between the United States and Iran.
Netanyahu will drag him into the abyss. He wants this war in the Middle East come hell or high water, and it's not in their interest.
What war?
The war with Iran.
We don't want to go to war against Iran. I don't think we should be fighting wars on behalf of Israel.
Make it clear to Netanyahu that he should not be dragging America into war with Iran.
You go fight Iran. We are American people. It's not our problem.
If they start talking to you about fighting a war with Iran, you treat them like an enemy that they are.
We should not go to war in Iran on behalf of Israel.
Against the war with Iran. It's not in America's interest, and many Americans will die, and billions will be spent on a war we don't need to fight.
Everybody wants peace, except Israel.